We are live here in sunny California. I'm so excited. I'm Patty. If you've never watched any of these Everything About Everything variety videos, and I've got Roger and Scott here. How you guys doing down there in somewhere in San Diego? I don't know if you want to say where you're at,
Oh
but
no, it's good morning, Patty. Now it's out down in Ocean Beach, and Roger came
okay.
down to so we go out in the water later after this, and decided to
Oh,
make a full
nice.
day out of it. So
Oh,
we got
nice.
we got waves.
You got waves, and
It's
the
a really
governor
nice
opened
sunny day.
the governor opened up
Focus.
the beaches.
The
So
beaches are open, so we're able to go down the water. Unable to hang out at the beach, but that's okay. After
well,
a month,
Orange County's not open, and all the people at Huntington Beach and at Newport are mad.
Yeah, I saw the
So,
protest on TV last night. So
so
far
if
in
you're
San
missing,
Diego, we've been really good about staying.
yeah, I know San
The issue
Diego.
the issue down here in Ocean Beach is they don't allow the parking anymore right now. So
Yeah,
if you can't park, there's not going to be a lot of people on the beach because there's just nowhere to park in Ocean Beach as it is.
yeah, yeah. Well, we'll get started here, and for those of you that are watching this later, which I have a suspect is going to happen because it's Saturday morning and everybody's down at the beach or whatever. Um, I'm going to put it on multiple places now. So we've got it on Facebook history, we got it on BIM, we got it on pattyserrano.com. We've got it here, we've got it there. So you can watch it later if you have to go. But we're going to have some fun here today, walking down memory lane. These two guys are. I mean, we've stayed in touch all these years. How many years ago was it, you guys, that we were 77 to
76, 77, yeah.
Okay, so that's what 86,
I don't
96,
want to age myself, Patty.
2006, 2016, 44 years we've known each other.
Yeah.
44 years. And look how good you guys look. That's awesome.
thank you.
I just want to mention.
We do.
I just want to mention I'm not wearing pants, so if the
Oh, I
not my-
know. That's funny because there was a broadcaster that did that the other day, and they kind of clipped. You could see his leg in there. Okay, well, I am, so no problem. I learned my lesson a long time ago during videos. You got to have, you got to be dressed.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so let's get started. So I want to know. Let's figure out how Roger and I met, or how we all met. We all met because we all ended up on the very first bodyboarding team. So who wants to tell us how we met?
If I could, I'd like to maybe go off on that one.
Okay.
My best recollection was me and Scotty had met each other. We both lived in Carlsbad, and we had both gotten a kit board.
Oh yeah.
And then we met each other through school, and we went out in the water. I believe that you were down in the Tamarack area.
That's where I lived. Yeah, that's where I lived. Yeah.
And you had seen us ride, and we got to talking to you about it. And of course, you were working with Tom on trying to promote just the board itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we got together and we started to put together a team at that point. And we got together with the offshore surf shop, and they sponsored us. And I think
cool.
the actual teams grew from there to the offshore team, which was the one we were all on. And then we went to another one in Oceanside called the Harbor Surf Gallery, which is they had the surf shop down there in the harbor, where now there's I think it's a coffee shop down there.
Oh,
and then Tony and his group up in San Clemente had kind of enjoy Amori Boogie. Kind of started like what I feel has been a family for a lot of my life, and very strong friendships that we grew out of that. And that was just kind of the alpha of how that all started between.
I remember that pretty good.
It was a long time ago, but some of the funnest times of my life, basically. So that's how it comes back to my memory, anyways.
Oh, okay. Pam thinks you look like twins. What?
We do. Yes,
yeah. Well, you start looking like each other after a while. Well, that's great. So I remember that, in fact, Roger had asked me, like, don't you have those? Don't you have a picture of our original team shirts? I go, no, it was like 45 years ago.
Right.
First of all, for those of you that are listening, we did not know that we were actually making history at the time. If you remember, we didn't know that.
You're just having fun.
We would have stayed and collected. Think of the things we would have collected. But I would say Scott here probably has the best collection of early stuff that the key to the city and stuff like that. So we're going to go over all that. But I remember, after I had met Tony from dropping some boards off at Denault's Hardware, that we were talking about maybe starting these little teams. So of course the offshore surf shop, us, and it was us three and someone else. Doreen, who was the other person? Do we have any? Debbie, maybe Debbie, or I don't remember. No, anyway, we formed a group called the Western Boogie Association, and I put that up in the I think I put it in my history video that I did on Maury Boogie, because I got comments later like Western Boogie, like, oh, is this like a country association? We had no idea that we call it a boogie. Hey, you want to go boogie, and then we call it a boogie board. So we would have probably called it Western Boogie Board Association if we know what we were doing. But that being said, we had the Western Boogie Association, and all three of us were the original members. Scott even has a picture. You can't show your card, can you?
I don't know if I have it on that. Was it in my?
Okay,
I'll take a look before I share it.
No, that's okay. We're going to share some historical videos, and not videos, but pictures with you. So stay with us. So that was how we got started. It was circa 1976, 77, and that was the Western Boogie Association. And from there, we started competing with A, AA, AAA. And you have a picture of one of the events, Scott, where we were out in one of the Western Boogie, or was that after we started doing Maury Boogie?
You talking about East Coast pictures?
No, we're not there yet. No, still down in Southern California. Do you have a picture?
Invitational?
Yeah, for I know what you're talking. Yeah, we had
just anything from the Western Boogie. Scott's our resident archive, keeps all the famous photos from back then.
Yeah, I try. I try.
Well, why don't
see if I can bring that up? I'm doing it right now for you.
Okay, why don't you show a picture of you guys on the kit boards too? That would be kind of cool.
This is if you can see it here.
Not yet. I'll wait till you get it up on the screen. Yeah, there you go.
That's Baja Malibu down in Mexico, and those boards, you could literally bend those boards over your head and not break them. Oh, so to ride them now, I don't even know. I don't think I could ride one now because they were so flimsy. I took that board and made it from scratch, and then I put a big old concave in the back. But it held, as you can see with the concave, it held up pretty good to a relatively big size.
A lot of people talk about that when they see those kit boards. How did you, because they're so stiff today, Yeah,
it was a whole different way of riding it because you had to adapt. And we didn't know any better. We just made the best that we could. And this is
so this is the one that Roger, the best shot of Roger was my photographer back then. Roger was into photography. So this is my kit board, and you can see the spray off the bottom that it's definitely doing some flexing to hold me on there. But
now, let me ask you, where did you get your inspiration, to go? I mean, remember, this is like early on, your inspiration to go drop, whatever that is, knee riding it or drop knee and whatever.
Well, back then, drop knee wasn't even in a word that we even spoke of. It wasn't anything, I think, until Keith. So we met Keith and we started hearing about it. But we were knee riding for 360, belly 360, knee ride 360, El Rolos. Those were the things that we sort of came up with as we started riding. But I used to knee ride all the time. Every time I tried to drop knee, Roger would tease me and call it a drop squat. So, I like to knee ride a little bit more. So.
That's cool.
Patty, on the contest in San Clemente, the first invitational, the wave I probably won that competition on was actually a knee ride from way outside, rode it all the way in, and got barreled on the inside. And to this day, I don't really do any drop knee riding or anything like that anymore. But back then, we kind of did.
Yeah, you're just going for it to impress the judges, right?
Yeah, you did what you had.
Yeah.
And the thing about it was, the knee ride wasn't really a big thing at the time. So whenever there was something new that somebody came up with, that was something that stoked the judges. And the reason I know that is because I spent probably a good 10 years of my life every weekend doing the jamborees and being a judge.
Oh, yeah.
So we saw things. We saw people standing up. We saw people doing different maneuvers. It kind of gave you a stoke because you hadn't probably seen it before. And then at that point, they would probably get a little bit higher score because it was something that was not really seen as much.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. All right. So now we're in the thick of things and we're competing and we're starting to, I know like in my Maury Boogie history video, I said, I don't know how people found out about this stuff. I really don't. There was not social media. I mean, you guys were the first. Well, I know there's, Bobby and Joey and a lot of people that had kit boards.
It's a big group, yeah, definitely a big
Paul,
group.
Yeah, the people that had kit boards were,
I don't think it might have been where the people that went to school were telling their friends about the teams, and when we got down to doing the competitions, I think a lot of that probably went through the schools, maybe.
Yeah.
And they basically said, hey, if you got a board, come on down. There's going to be a little contest. Come down and have some fun.
Yep. Had to. Yeah, had to. And so now we're down doing some events. People are showing up. So we decided to, at first it was just a couple divisions. And I do want to say that I want to give you guys credit and Tony Prince for coming to my house to start the Western Boogie Association, because I was just working with Tom, pretty much on the road trying to sell boards in those days. So to do this little side thing was just kind of extra stuff that we did on the weekends. But I want to thank you again over all the years that you've helped me. And so now we're in the thick of doing some competitions. We're the Western Boogie Association, and you're working your way up. Now, does anyone remember who was the first one that got to go to the East Coast with me?
I think it
might have been Florida, right?
It was Ocean City. It was Cocoa Beach, Florida. Was the first event.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was. I know me and Roger. You came on the first one too.
We went to the out in the wave machine out in Arizona. Me and Scotty went on that one with you.
Was that the first one in Tempe, Arizona?
Tempe, Arizona, correct.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Before we go, I want to just refresh some of the people that are like really into the history. Because I remember when we hit Tempe, Arizona, there was a little group of inland boogie boarders. They weren't surfers or bodyboarders. They were little inland boogie boarders. Right. And when you guys got there, you would have thought that the king of someone had shown up. Remember? They just followed you around like
in the early days. We had every time we went on one of these things, that's how it was. I can remember back when I went to Ocean City, Maryland, and what's his name? Jay Real was there.
Oh, yeah.
Jay was at the very beginning of his stuff. Yeah. But when we came out and he got stoked about bodyboarding, he went on to be one of the best bodyboarders in the bodyboarding history.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I do remember the day when I interviewed Jay, I'm going to remember the day I met him because he was sitting back there right behind me, pushing sand underneath my chair. And I looked back and I went, would you like to help us? It was kind of like he was kind of antsy. He goes, yeah, can I? And so, I've got some fond memories of Jay. Well, we're going to have him definitely on the Legends series also. All right, so we go out and we start traveling. We go to Ocean City, Maryland. We get greeted by all these people that, like, I don't know. I can remember just, especially that one wave park, I think it was in New Jersey. All the little girls just were so excited. They'd heard it on the radio or something. And you guys were just like, I mean,
remember when we had actually gone to the radio station and did a little
that's right
deal about us coming into town and what we were doing, and we were literally processing 300 people a day in Ocean City, Maryland. I remember just being completely exhausted.
It was a long, it was a fun and long day, but I think that at the water park or the when we were down getting greeted by everybody, I think that's when the mayor came up and gave us the keys to the city, which was unexpected as well. It was like, what is going on? Because it was different for us for sure.
Yeah, no, now that one I can remember. It was a bikini contest on the beach, and they had that big stage, and we were just there, kind of part of the festival, if you remember. And so they're having the bikini contest, and I'm losing all my workers to this bikini contest. I remember. And then all of a sudden we're done with our event. We're all kind of sitting around packing stuff up and everything. And the mayor gets up there and goes, and we want to call up the Maury Boogie team and blah, 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 blah. And I went, what? And he hands us a key to the city. You've got a picture of that to prove it.
Yeah, I can share that with everybody. So.
I mean, it was like, now, let me ask you, how many people have key to cities? I mean, come on. I mean, little boogie board riders getting a key to the city. I just thought that was so special, that he did that. But that was something that we, 44 years later can go and kind of, put in your little accolades of the different things that you did was, that you got a key to a city and somewhere that you've never been before. But anyway, that's okay, Scott.
Did it show? I have it on there. It's not showing.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had it on. Weird.
That's okay. So we get the key to the city. We're going out there all the time. Doing a bunch of. I know that is so cool, huh, Steve. It was really cool.
And, I'm gonna try it one more time, Patty, just because I had
that's okay. Oh yeah, there it is. You got it.
Yeah, I didn't hit share. You got
it. There it is. Yeah. We have a key to the city, Ocean City, Maryland. I mean, that was so cool. But it was a big event. It was a big event. So I can say that, we were just part of that festival, and we got in on a lot of these festivals as time went on, because for us we didn't have to get a permit because there was already a festival going on. It was a new sport. Everybody wanted a part of it. They wanted to see what was going on and that type of thing. So,
Patty, when it comes down to, say, like Ocean City, Maryland, I want to thank you and the people that sent us to those places, because we stayed in a hotel that was right on the beach, and there was an ice skating rink inside that hotel. And we met the guy that was the manager's son, and he decided to hook up with us and showed us a really good time. We had a super good time.
I remember. Right? I mean, I don't want all you groms out there, the young people that I'm trying to get into the sport these days, listen to these guys. But, think about it for a minute. You're on an all expenses paid trip. The guy's bringing you champagne. Those guys are playing a joke on me because I always wanted to stay a couple floors away from them because it was always so noisy. And plus, I always traveled with my son, who was 2 years old at the time. And he's 46 now, so that's go figure. But anyway, so the biggest joke they played on me was they said, "Hey, Patty, go into Roger's room. You got to go look at Roger." So they opened up the door. Roger's passed out on the bed, and they had placed all these beer bottles around.
Young and crazy, huh?
Yeah. At least we didn't have to go to work that day. I think that was an off day or something. But hey, it was.
Hey, you know what? To add a little bit to the end, I remember. I think the next day we were leaving, and there was, or we were supposed to have something, but there was an electrical storm. And we ended up having to leave, and we were packing our boards in those boxes that Maury Boogie. And literally, we were in this guy's garage, and the lightning hit, and we were all up about 4 feet off the ground because it was so loud. And then we took a little commuter plane called Piedmont from somewhere to Chicago, and then we went from Chicago. We got on a jet, a bigger jet.
I wasn't on that plane.
No, you weren't. It was just the riders, I think, were on that plane.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go on a little. No, I never go on.
They call it a puddle jumper, right? So
no.
It was kind of scary being in that full blown, electrical storm. Yeah, that plane just kind of going up and down. So I was like, okay.
I thought you were going to say the year that with electrical storm stopped the elevator, and we hit the button, we go to get out, and there's the elevator like 10 feet down. So if you want to go down to, we're on the 5th floor. If you want to get down to the ground floor, you either take the chance to climb down into that elevator that it's going to make it down, or you stay where you're at.
Right.
And we opted to stay where we're at and just,
what I would do.
Yeah, wait out the storm.
At Ocean City?
I thought it was Florida, that one.
It was Florida.
Yeah, that one was Florida, yeah. But so we got to travel out to the East Coast a lot. You have a picture of Roger out, I believe it was in Virginia.
I think it was Ocean City, Maryland, Patty.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I think it was that place there right on the beach that we stayed at.
Okay, let's look at that.
Which one was that, Raj?
Oops. It was the one where we're all standing there, and I'll go through some of the people that were involved in the early days of putting this all together. And we're going to show you some more riding shots, everybody. That's we're waiting for the picture here. But
yeah, I don't know which one we were all standing around.
I think it was just Roger and Tony Prince.
Oh,
you mean that with Peter Pan?
Yeah.
Me and Tony and
yeah.
Bobby Owens.
Yeah, Bobby Owens.
Yeah, I'll put up a couple pictures. I'll put up the one. This is the cameras we got to use back then, right?
Okay,
that's the one right there.
Oh yeah. Okay, so check this one out. So
to the far left is Tony.
Right.
And is that you, or is that your sister?
No, that's me.
That's you.
Yeah, that's me. Oh, now if you look closely, if you zoomed in, that's a Western Boogie Association shirt.
That's correct. Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And then we had, or was it a Maury Boogie shirt? I can't really tell. It's too far away. Yeah, but anyway, so there's Roger next to me. And Bobby Owens was known, when we would come into town, he was the one rider that would stand up and ride. And so
he was really good. Did a lot of 360s on that stand-up too, remember?
And it caused some confusion, because a lot of people thought that he was a surfer, and you know, in some areas you couldn't surf, so that caused some confusion. But Bobby Owens went down pretty much in history as the first person to stand up, not only and just ride a boogie board, but ride it well. Like,
you know,
really,
I think
really well.
I think maybe Scott Harrison had that as well.
Oh yeah, but Bobby came onto the scene first, though, didn't he?
No, I think Scott was first and Bobby came second.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Thanks for the correction of history, because this is all.
Scott Harrison was on the Denault team.
Right. I remember Scott Harrison. Yeah. Okay. So there we have some East Coast stuff. Lots of fun out there. Do you have any other memories before we move on of traveling out on those trips?
Is that one showing up for you?
Oh, okay.
With the boards? Is it not showing? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the theory was, for those of you that didn't, this photo I used in my historical video. We just went down to the beach with a pile of boards. And remember, these people that you see in that picture have never seen this before. They've seen rafts, and they had no idea. So of course it, was a lot of interest. And then to be able to go ride them for free. And so we even had pros out there that would show them how to ride. I mean, this was like pretty, I don't even know the word for it. It was pretty, you don't see like that kind of stuff going on today.
I mean, just take a look at the picture with the girls looking at, I don't know who that is with the, with the little hats we used to make out of the skin as well.
Oh,
but they're just looking at the board, just, wondering how it works. He's got his fins and everything. I'm not sure who that is.
I don't either.
I know Roger's behind you.
Yeah,
I see Roger, and I see little Arlo down below there.
At the bottom, yeah.
Let's see. Let me hide that.
That might have been Ocean City, Maryland, Patty.
Johnny says total babe magnets. Yeah, that's for sure.
Just tell Johnny we still are, Johnny. Come on.
No, that's definitely Ocean City, Maryland, because the reason I know is I went back there about a couple years ago on my road trip, and I stood at that very same pier, and nothing had changed. It was so cool. It was really cool. So that's how it all got started when we went out and did the Maury Boogie events. It was really, really neat.
I don't know if this is back.
Patty, those boards were the next generation after the kit boards.
Right. Yeah, the 132 BE was the first time when
like Tom, the rainbow skins on them.
Tom bought actual the kit board was a residual byproduct. It was where the foam was made, and then it was all foamy. That's why you had all those bubbles on the skins. And so they literally went in and they were going to throw it away. And Tom said, no, let's cut that and, make a piece of foam out of it so we can send you the piece of foam and you can make your own board.
Yeah, it came in 2 skins, top and bottom.
Exactly. But that was scrap foam. Then when they saw the numbers climbing, Dow Chemical said, Wilshire Foam or Dow Chemical, one of them said, let's start making what does this rainbow one look like to you? Oh yeah. And so that's how the 132BE with the rainbow, it kind of morphed from kit board over to 132BE.
So Patty, it's my understanding that was a blown foam, right? They made it real airy.
Well, it was a vat. The way they described it to me when they came out, Dow Chemical and them, was that it was a big vat, a big steel vat, and it was the excess foam that was coming up from the foam that the blanks that they were making. Okay. So it was a foamy residual stuff that they were going to go spit out and trash it. And then that's when Tom, I guess, hooked up with them. And I might have the story wrong, but this is the way I remember it. They said, no, let's try to skin that and make it into skins. And that's where he got the idea to use that for his boards.
Because you remember when we would get our the 132BEs and you get on them and you get that kind of rash on your stomach. Yeah. Well, the old skins were called the L200 skins. They were so soft and pliable that you wouldn't get that rash.
No, you wouldn't. No.
After a while, you couldn't find that skin anywhere. It just it stopped selling it.
You didn't need to wax it up or anything. It was just
well, the thing about it was still there, but they didn't want to think about it from a business standpoint. Why would they, go to the time to layer a byproduct or something they were going to trash when they could sell this other new stuff, make more money. And, we as boogie board enthusiasts evolved. And you look at these pictures of, the 132BE, that is a historical board. I mean, it doesn't get those boards in that stack of boards there that you showed, those are worth a lot of money today,
Definitely.
If you have
Patty, a lot of people don't know this about me personally, but when I was in that whole transition from finding a board and riding the board and doing the team stuff, I ended up working for Maury Boogie and shaping boards with Debbie and what's his name, Bobby Zabad and all those guys that over there. I think it was on Oak Street, right?
Right, on Oak Street in Carlsbad.
So I worked for a couple of years just shaping boards and just trying to get every avenue of the sport just to, and plus it was fun. Working there was really fun.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you worked there. That's really, I'm glad we chronicled that in your video today.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so now we leave the East Coast. Now we're out on the West Coast. Things are popping. Tom Maury sells this company to Kransco. I go to work for Kransco. I get out of sales. I go into sport promotion. And that was mainly because John Rosecrans, one of the owners of Kransco, loved sports. He was a sports enthusiast, what do you call it? Aficionado or whatever. And he loved the idea that we had created this little circuit of boogie riders. And so he said, I want you to expand on that. Now, think about this for a moment. You've been told to expand on something that you're already really loving and enjoying, and you guys did too. We loved going out to the East Coast. But now we're going to have radio, a PR agency, and all this fun stuff with big sponsors and me flying to Chicago to sign, sponsorship deals and everything. And so now we're like in a whole different, realm of promotion. And you guys were with me on that also, which was so cool. Because one of the big
with the Sunkiss first, I think.
Yeah, one of the first ones was the Sunkiss or Put Your Body on a Boogie out on the East Coast.
Right.
And then Sunkissed out here on the West Coast, and I got to work with the bottling company out here in Los Angeles. But here's what they wanted. They wanted the little, 1 ounce cups out on the beach. Everybody turned orange those years because we drank.
I was peeing orange every day.
Everybody had unlimited amount of orange T-shirts. You could, Sunkissed buffed us out with T-shirts.
I got a couple of those too.
We had orange boards because remember they gave them to the grocery stores for a promotion. It was orange everywhere. There was orange. What do you call it? Windsurfers going down in front of the beach. If somebody, wanted to know what here we got me with it. Is that a sun? Oh, I thought that was a
Sunkissed shirt and a hat. And actually, it's a Maury Boogie hat.
Right? I thought that was a Make America Great Again hat. Uh-oh.
No, it's make Maury Boogie great again. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
And we're trying to do that now, right? That's one of them. Yeah.
One of the things I liked about those days too is you can see that. That it wasn't a big production. We just had a bunch of orange down on the beach, these little orange, so we didn't have the big scaffolding and flags and banners and all that, just a bunch of orange bodies. And you can see I'm standing out there. This is one of the reasons I have such beautiful skin today, because I'm standing out there in the sun, getting as much sun as I can. But that's all it was. But it was so hugely successful. It was just as big as it could get.
I think our vehicle to really exploding bodyboarding in general was the jamborees, which was more or less a whole summer going up and down the coast,
right? And
having pro riders teach the general public from the age of like 2 to 70 how to ride different aspects, being just the beginner style, or we'd have them take out some of the guys that were in the age where they wanted to try to, move up the ladder a little bit. We'd have, Keith take them out and show them how to drop knee and stuff like that. And I believe that at that point, that's what really skyrocketed bodyboarding in general, is just that being out in the public's face and showing them how you can go out at any level, from the very lowest level to the very highest level, and enjoy what you're doing and just put a smile on your face.
Yep.
You still see that today, Patty. Just the kids' first time on their brand new boogie boards. It's just,
and everyone I've interviewed so far, Guillermo and Pat and Regina, so far on these new series of bodyboarding videos, have said the same thing. We have to go back there. We have to start over.
Probably absolutely true. If we went back to the jamborees and just trying to don't recreate the wheel, but go back to what worked.
The core, the core.
I think we'd find some success in that.
Yep. Well, I told it in the video that I saw before, because a lot of people just think of boogie boarding as boogie boarding and then ultimately bodyboarding, but there was a business behind all this. And, my job was to go to John Rosecrans and John Bose and say, okay, so let me tell you something here. This little idea of us taking the boogie boards out to the West Coast or East Coast and just letting them ride it was, it wasn't, not big banners or anything, but we just let them ride it, was probably one of the biggest coups that we could, to overturn just the stigma of not being a surfer.
Right.
So we need to duplicate that exactly how we would have to do it today. We have to duplicate that core. And the core was, okay, Patty, come up with something. Okay, let's do a jamboree. We now have pros. They can go out and, just like you guys did out on the East Coast, let these people ride. The abilities were all about, whatever ability you were. And then you take a pro to this person, a little new beginner or whatever. And it was hugely rewarding, if you guys remember, to watch this go down. These people getting stoked. They were just totally getting stoked. I remember helping at those jamborees and passing out the Sunkissed. It was great fun. And see, we don't know who that is, but you can put your name in there if you want, and we'll for sure give you a shout out.
Yeah, there's definitely a few people that were a big part of it that we've had a hard time reaching out to, and we don't know.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's really, and the whole thing is too.
We had at least probably 10 or 12 people that put that together. You remember at the back into those, we were setting up scaffolding,
Oh yeah.
systems.
Oh
we,
yeah.
We would get there. We get on the beach at 5 a.m.
Oh yeah.
and set all that up, and especially at the end of the year when we did the contest. But I think what was really kind of cool was we go up and down the coast here in California and do the instructions and teaching and just show people how to have a good time on them. At the end, you guys provided a competition for those that learned and gave them something to kind of finalize their learning for the end of the year. And they would get trophies and boards and shirts and stuff. Yeah. It was great.
No. It got really. It was kind of the way, like you said, that really put it at a whole different level. And the thing that I enjoy, and I said this in my history video that I made, was when you go and look at it from the business standpoint, which I was, the guy that's on TV right now called The Prophet. I watch him every Tuesday night. And he always takes a company when he invests in it and goes back to the core. Yeah. Like this week, this lady had gone out and made all these, makeup things. He goes, no, we got to go back to what made you get started to make these millions, And so he goes back and does this whole line of 10 different products on the core product. Mm-hmm. So you see, like, say, Custom X today is going back to doing vintage boards. Go back to what made Pat Caldwell. Yeah, you tweak a few things and you add a few things, and so that's what we did. And so that was really fun to talk about. Did you bring up any sun-kissed photos? Did we see those yet?
I had yours up, and I put a couple more. It looks like I have to share each one, but that's fine. I'll do it again because I have two more.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, if you would. I'd like to just show that before we move on, because I love
that process was really what spiked the craze of bodyboarding. After we did all that, you couldn't go to the beach and not see a couple hundred bodyboarders in the water.
Yep.
It was crazy. And I don't think the surf community liked it as much because there was a lot of people in the water that had bodyboards.
Let me know if you can see that.
Yeah. Now we can see Scott sitting there in an orange shirt, and for some reason Roger has a blue shirt on.
I think it's a wetsuit. That's a wetsuit vest. Yeah.
So you must just get out of the water, and that's probably Tony Prince or Bobby Owens.
Yeah, you can't see Keith, but he's on the other side there.
Oh, that's Keith Suzuki. Yeah, that's right. He was part of it. Pat Caldwell talked about that the other night when I interviewed him. So, yeah, we had a lot of people involved in this, and it was really, really fun.
Let me know if this other one comes up, Patty.
Okay, here we go. Here it is. We're using Scott's. There we go.
Okay.
So you can see by the looks of this picture that it was just our presence there with the orange shirts and the windsurfers and the orange boards and the orange soda and all that. And there's no way that you could leave the beach and not know about sun-kissed soda in those days. Do you agree?
I agree. It's definitely.
So Patty, on this particular shot, you can see we were actually judging a contest. There's the clipboards in front of us.
Oh yeah.
And so this is actually a competition probably at the end of the year, after we've done the jamborees all year long, and then we had that competition. That's this photo is a shot of that.
Yep, and I can see that's Bobby Owens, Carl Ring, and you.
Correct. I think that's.
Yeah. We were thinking if that's Bobby and Carl. For
sure. Bobby Owens
yep.
and Carl and you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's it right there. I mean,
so not only did we ride boards, but we were really strong on promoting the competition end of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there was many weekends. I can't even count the many weekends that I would go up and judge competitions. And even after that competition thing was sold out to
Grasco?
No, it was the competition went to one of the riders. I think they I can't remember his name. Anyways, he was
Chris Granoni?
Yeah, Chris Granoni.
No, you're talking the BIA now.
Yeah, well, back then I even transferred from doing because More Boogie wasn't putting on any more competitions, and Chris Granoni took it over, and I helped him actually do some of that as well. So I stayed involved in it quite a long time.
Cool.
Maybe not on a pro level as riding, but more so on a promotion, still trying to get the competition scene out there.
Uh-huh.
Can you see that screenshot, Patty? I'm not sure. That definitely was not orange. That was not Sunkist because I see orange.
That's later, a later crew of Maury Boogie. Then the Maury Boogie went on to do some big. Now we're bringing scaffolding in, and Mary Lee takes over, and she's putting on some pretty serious events, going to Pipeline and that type of thing. So great history. I mean, great shots. Something that you'll be able to keep forever, and in the archives of bodyboarding. And all right, so then we go and do the
airplane coming over.
Oh, that's okay. Oh yeah, that's right.
Airplane coming over.
Now what's next? So we go to, so you said, Roger, that by the way, you've got an incredible memory for history. That's amazing.
It's easy to remember when you have this much fun and you make this many friends.
Yeah,
it's a little bit easier. If it wasn't that way, I probably wouldn't have remembered as much as I have.
Yeah, that's true.
And again, we keep refreshing everybody's memory. And we go to Cabo every year, and T Street reunions, and we get to see everybody. And every time you sort of learn something new, and you go, "Oh yeah," we start remembering even more. That's why it's so fun. Just getting together with you and Joe and Steve and Buccaneer Beach was just.
That picture that I put up on the history page was just an opportunity for us to get with Tom Morey. And, we're all getting, not you guys so much, but Tom and I are getting to the point where, we want to just take in as much as we can, in our sunset years. And what's so fun to do these videos now with everybody is to walk down memory lane. It's so incredible. It's such a thrill. So you guys went on to never stop being out in the water. In fact, you're going to go out in the water here soon. Yeah. But you partake in the reunions down in Cabo. Do you have any pictures of that fun down there?
I got a couple that I saved. We have tons of them, but there's a few that we like to save. Okay. And just to see and it's got some of the, like I said, the originals, and then some of the second generation, and just a bunch of new friends that we've been meeting down there as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I think one of our biggest regrets right now is that because of this coronavirus thing going on, that we had to cancel the trip this year.
Oh, you did?
Last couple years. Some of them we didn't know, but some of them we did. And we all get out in the water in a place that is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it's such a great environment. It just kind of takes you back, to the beginning days when we used to travel.
Oh, yeah.
We're able to then make new friends and continue. We've been trying to continue it every year and bring in as many people as we can to just. And when we go to these places, the one place we go to that we will not divulge, it's almost empty. Surfing, we're the only ones there except for a few locals.
Wow. That's so cool.
That is the locals they become friends as well. They bodyboard, so
we're not making local friends with the bodyboard locals, right?
Yeah, that's very cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, the group picture. I mean, that's pretty much what we do after dark, because we're out in the morning. We're walking over. It's about almost a little over half a mile to the surf spot, early and dark, still dark out, and we're there when the sun rises. So, and these are the shots that Tony gets. I'll show you one that Tony put a bunch of these together. And
by the way, Tony is a phenomenal.
Yeah, Tony's the one that just makes these.
Tony's going to be on our little program here soon in the next.
He's one of the most incredible photographers that
I know.
Based on what we're doing is he's just awesome.
Let me know if you can see that, Patty. All right.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up here. There you go. Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
So you got Joe, you've got Chris Powers, you got Cameron Steele, myself, Roger, you got Jay Reel, Vicky Reel, and Mike. And Mike, I apologize, I can't pronounce your last name, but these are just people that Lembeski. Yeah, these are just people that we met. Some of them we know for a long time, and just some new friends as well. But Tony would just take shots of the sunrise. This is a sunrise, and then we'd all go out in the water and just have a blast. And Tony would get some great shots of that as well. That's awesome. And I think there's one more that we have. What would you say? Well, you guys are now in the groove. You've started on the beach. You're competed on the beach, and now you're still going to these reunions. What do you see next?
I mean, or do you even think about that at all? Do you think, well, here's what I'd like to do in my sunset years or whatever? Is there anything?
To be honest with you, Patty, I thought about, because I've got probably another 5 years before I hope to retire.
Uh-huh.
I hope to stay active up until the time I can't physically be in the water. That's my goal.
Uh-huh.
And I have sons that I brought along. They bodyboard as well and surf. And I've had the honor to bring them up and to introduce them to the sport. Micah, my middle son, went down with me down to the Cabo trip and just fit in like he was one of the guys that has been there all the time. Mm-hmm. And he lived in Oahu for about 7 years and bodyboarded Sandies and Makapu and pipeline over on the Sunset Beach and Belsey Land. So he's kind of went through that. And then my oldest son, Ryan, I had him in high school, and I was teaching the surf class.
Oh, wow.
And he was mostly a stand-up surfer, but we always had a shortage of bodyboarders, and every time he got on the board, he won first place. He just jumped on it, and because they could do multiple things, they could go out and go bodyboarding in the competition for their school. Mm-hmm. They could do longboarding, and they can do shortboarding. So a lot of times when we got short, he would just fill in for those different positions. Right. And whenever he got like number 3, I think, in the state at the end of the year in his junior or senior year of high school. So that's been a real joy in my life, is to be able to pass on this.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
I have a younger son. He's about 14. I'm still trying to get him involved. I think maybe next couple of years,
not everybody.
I can get him out there to enjoy a bodyboard.
Then you can have an excuse to say, hey, we're all going out to the water, instead of
every year on Christmas Day and on Thanksgiving Day, we all, as a family, we all get together and we go out in the water.
Oh, nice. That's so nice.
Yeah, so it's been a tradition in my family from ever since I had a family.
Right.
And I've been just really stoked and blessed that I can just, hopefully they'll pass it on to their families.
That's awesome. Well, that's good. You're going to keep doing it until you can't do it anymore.
Generational fun.
Yeah, I think as long as me and Roger continue to go out in the water, I think we can go out until the end, right? And as long as we keep that type of that stoke in the exercise.
So I don't normally like to do this, but I was just curious how old both of you are now.
I'll be 59 this year in June, and
I will be in December. I will be 61.
Oh, wow. See, Pat Caldwell was telling me he was 58, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
If you want to hear a funny story about Pat Caldwell, I met Pat when I went out to do with you, I think it was, to pick out riders. And it was the same year, I think, that we discovered Keith.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I went down to, I think it was Sandy's Beach. And me and Pat, I didn't know Pat. He didn't know me. We were out there, and I took off on a wave, and I did a spin into the tube. And then Pat saw it, and he did 2 spins in the tube, and we just kind of dueled it off for a while. And then we got to know each other talking, and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
So it's just stuff like that, just, lifelong people that you, whenever you meet, you just go, it's like the day you met them.
Exactly. And the Groms that are listening to this, the younger kids, the 8 and 12-year-olds that are getting into it, think like 60 is like, oh my God, you're such an old man, and 59 and I'm 74. And it's like, oh my God, but the thing of it is, to me, we are really blessed to, number one, have the memories of, you have such fond memories of Pat. And
the funny story about that is, we were at the wave park in Vista.
Mm-hmm.
And my son, he was probably about 12, and he was just saying, he was egging me on to go on the wave, the flow rider, right?
Uh-huh.
And come on, Dad. And I was just sitting enjoying the day, right? And I didn't want to get out there. So finally he bugged me enough, and he thought, oh, my dad's going to go over there and he's going to flounder. So I'm up there, and I'm doing a couple cutbacks. I do throw through a few 360s and stuff. And he just kind of looks at me and goes, okay, that didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to. So, so as far as like the guys that are our age, we still ride with some aggression. We'll get out in the water to just, be stoked about it.
Yeah.
And we can still do some maneuvers. We're not throwing big rolls anymore and stuff like that. But when you go out in the water, what we like to see right now is just to be out in the water where you got a couple of your good buddies. You get stoked. You're not sitting there fighting with people for waves.
Yeah.
And you get the exercise. When you get older, you got to stay fit. If you don't,
The difference is, Patty, the wave has to come to us now instead of chasing the wave. So it takes a little longer, but if you're in the right spot at the right time, and hopefully you're the next one on the wave, that's what we're waiting for. But.
Well, Steve Jackson out in New Jersey says, yes, bodyboarding for as long as physically possible and passing on your stoke to the next generation. I mean, that says it all. It really does.
Right there.
Yeah, it really is. It's so good, Steve, because that's exactly where we are today. We have so many generations now of different types of riders, and everyone has evolved, to wherever they are in their spirit of bodyboarding. So, all right. So we're getting close to, we could talk forever, but I just wanted to ask either one of you, is there anything, because I'm going to chronicle these videos. Is there anything you'd like to share or add to just the whole life of bodyboarding? Let's start with Scott.
Well, I mean, for me, Patty, it was being the first generation. There wasn't the contests weren't cash prizes. We started getting into them a little bit, but just being the first generation, writing and then meeting all the new people coming up. But it got to the point, I think, where we had to start working more than bodyboarding. And it was nice to see the next generation go out and to see what they can do. And I think we were judging more than competing at that time. But it was just for us. I think it's just all the people that we've met and we stay in contact with it could be even on a daily basis through Facebook. That's what I appreciate from. That's what keeps me going all the time, is to have all these friends that we may be able to get out in the water every once in a while and have a good time and have our reunions and do things like this with you, Patty, because you're a big part of why we're here today. It was an exciting time for us. We were young.
Oh, I'm crying.
maybe a little stupid at times, but we made it happen, and we just continue to do it today. I mean, that's why we're still out in the water today, because it's our blood, and we just want to continue doing that.
Yeah, well, that's perfectly said. And I will say that thank you, Johnny. Thank you for you guys for the pure stoke too. That was it's so cool. And if you think about it, for those, I'm going to have Roger say a little thing here, because if you think about it, though, like what you said, Scott, who in any of the groups that you are with, still after almost 45 years, we still share on Facebook, we still talk to each other, we still have reunions. It's a pretty amazing life that we've had, that we could still come up to this point in our lives and still be friends with no drama. I mean, this whole group, for all of you that are got drama on the beach or drama in your lives or whatever, this whole group has not had any drama. It's been pure, like Johnny says, pure stoke, pure love, everything. So share with us, Roger, what you now at this point, what you think.
If I look back on all the things that I've been involved with and been able to do, I first have to say, thank you to you, Patty, because without you and your involvement with all this, none of this would have happened. Of course, Tom Morey had to be here to make the board, but I feel like you drove the everything the bodyboarding is today. You were the original person that drove it to be where it is today. So I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for how you set it up for us as riders to travel. Without that, a lot of us wouldn't have traveled to different places. In my time, I was able to do a jamboree in Hawaii, and I was also able to qualify to ride in the international contest, I think in '82, I want to say it was. And I just don't know if I would have been able to do that without the Maury Boogie and yourself helping me to get there and to set me up in the nicest places. Whenever we went as writers, like Scott said, we weren't really paid as like on a payroll thing, and that's kind of one of the reasons we had to leave, because we had to make a living, right? So, but we were put in what I would say the limelight, where wherever we went, we were almost like celebrities, and that to me was a pure sense, because once it got down to getting paid, I felt like it got a little more catty, or a little more, little less of being an ambassador, and kind of a division between getting paid and being an ambassador. We were just pure ambassadors. We got boards and equipment, and we got trips and that type of thing, which we were all very excited and very appreciative of. And just the places that I visited and the people I met beyond California, just take it another step of how much I appreciate all that you and Maury Boogie, and I guess then Kransco after that, provided their writers. And I just have a really good, warm, hearted feeling for the whole process, and how we all kind of got together and it all developed. And for you to come back and to reach back to the furthest depths of where we started, and to allow us to kind of tell our story of that, I'm at this point in my life, I'm the most grateful and proud of. I totally, and I know Scotty feels the same way. We all, when we get together, we talk about the old times all the time. We talk about, you in general, how much fun we had when we went out and did these things. And let's not forget Debbie. Debbie is a huge, huge, and I don't know if many people, people know, is that right during this time, I think it might have been shortly after, when we were all kind of just not competed any longer. Both myself, you, Debbie, Mike Lambrisi, all, and Mary Mars, all enjoyed a beautiful 5-bedroom home
on the beach,
right on the sand, in Oceanside, probably a multi-million-dollar home now. And we stayed in that house for years and enjoyed each other's company. And of course, you had your own band called Patsy Pink, and we had parties on the deck, and we would throw ragers, and everybody would come to the memory.
I don't know if the younger people know what a rager is.
You have a good memory. Scott Evans says,
that was kind of pushing it back to us, but we all kind of, as a group, ended up getting back together and cohabitating in the same place.
I know.
And what I thought was I look back at that place and say to myself, God, I wish I was still on that beach place right there. And I tell people, you stayed there? I says, yeah. You know what was it? It was a 5-bedroom house, and we were paying like $850.
Oh yeah, no,
like, no way. That's not even possible.
No, Debbie and I drove by there last night on the. We went down to see the red tide, the luminescence, and. I said, don't you remember Scott and Roger and Mary Marsvanian lived there? And I mean, how many people do we know in that house?
Well, Mike Lambrisi lived there too, remember?
Mike Lambrisi, like a flat house for bodyboarders.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, the deck was like perfect. Like then I went, of course, onto my band, and my band would play up on that deck, and here's the whole beach. It's like, oh my God.
Those were the summers, that's for sure.
That was really.
Even though the waves would come into the bottom of the house every once in a while into those little studios. But
I forgot about all that time. Good job, Roger. You have such a great memory. Well, I want to thank you. Go ahead.
I was just going to say too. I know that when Rogers, I was just going to make a humorous joke, but I think Kransco was trying to get us out of the system because they made us ride those skim boards back east that they made out of the extra skin.
That's right.
They expected us to ride those for the first time. But I wish we could find one. Those are pretty cool.
I think Bobby Zabad's brother was the only one that could ride those.
I know, Frank Zabad. That's right.
Yeah, he could ride. I didn't see any other people that could ride him. He was just that good.
Well, we're getting down to the last few minutes of an hour. I cannot believe that we've chit-chatted this long and been able to share so much for people. I'm going to throw the number up there. Most people, for some reason, if anybody's got a question for Scott or Roger, go ahead and call in. I won't put your name up if you don't want to, but if you have anything for them. But for the most part, we'll just continue on here because my little call-in idea hasn't gone over so well. Steve Jackson called in and talked to Guillermo the other night, and that was kind of cool. But other than that,
can I share a picture of Johnny? Because I know Johnny's been on there, and I saved it for him when I started getting some photos together.
Oh, did you?
And I think he would appreciate. Okay. There's a couple of Johnny that I'd like to show, but this is the one that back in Cabo, a lot of people went out and ate dinner at a nice big restaurant. And we stayed back at the hotel, and Johnny decided to order some lobster. And,
okay, so
it's representative from Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah.
If Johnny's out there. This is to you, Johnny. That's one shot there, and then there's another.
Okay, wait a minute. No, that's not coming up. It's buffering, and so I don't know if it's just taking up too much or. We're lost. There we are. No, we're coming back. There we go. No, it's not coming up. Sorry. It's
Let's try it again.
Yeah, it's a black screen.
How about now?
No, and it's coming up saying you're having trouble connecting with that, so unstable.
Okay. Well, there's just one more, and
okay. Sorry, Johnny.
Has Keith and Jay in it as well. Let's see if that one comes up.
Okay.
So let me know if it shows up on your end. Maybe we're having some technical.
Nope, not showing up. It's showing that it says there's not enough. Your computer's not stable. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
The operator's not stable.
Maybe the operator's not stable.
Joe's saying we can see it, but I'm not seeing it here.
Oh, they can see it? Oh, okay. Let me put it back up again. Let me just try this again and start sharing again. Maybe that's what I can do.
Okay.
And I'll just do the one shot with Keith.
All right.
And
Scotty has a bunch of archive pictures. Tony printed down a board for both myself and Scotty.
Here we go. There it is.
Johnny's in the middle. Great guy. And then you got Jay Reel and Keith on the sides of him.
Nice.
In Cabo. And
that's the resort that we stay at in Cabo. Super nice place.
Yeah. So just some of the other new friends that we meet out there. And then what Roger was talking about was Tony had got some Cabo pictures, and we all put them on it's a wall hanging bodyboard. And
oh, sorry. I missed it. Just a sec. There it is.
Tony's been having somebody make those with his shots on them, and they're just on metal tins, and it's great. Everybody can have their own personal photos on their boards. It's pretty cool.
So I had mine done too, and it's I was totally stoked. My wife did it for me for my I think it was for my birthday. Yeah. And I was kind of a big surprise. I was like, wow, that is so cool. So I got it hanging in my room with all the shots that, throughout all the bodyboarding stuff that we've done and all the shots that we've been able to do. By far, Tony's shots are like the best that I've ever had of myself anyways. Yeah. So shout out to Tony.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he's on there, but
yeah, Tony is turned out to be, well, it was kind of like, okay, I think I know who this is, but we'll see here. Hold on. Let me unplug my speaker. Oh, that's loud. You're on the call. Who is it? Oh, hey, it's Joe Evans.
Joe Evans.
Go ahead.
There's no way I'm not calling in to talk to you guys.
Well, say hi.
Hi, Joe.
What's going on, Joe?
Okay.
After being away from these guys for like 30 years and hooking back up together in Cabo these last couple of years, it has just been fantastic. These two guys have grown into be the most respectful, honorable men I've probably ever met. And I just be prouder to be friends with them. And what they bring to the table, their experience and their friendship to me and Tony and everybody in Cabo, I can't even cover it all. I'm so grateful that we all got back together. And a lot of it comes to you, Patty, because you started this up, and I really appreciate it. It means a lot to a bunch of us. It really means a lot that we got back together again.
It does. And this is so much fun. And I'm looking forward to you and Tony's live chat we're going to have here soon. We'll be bringing up a lot of memories like these guys did. So thank you, Joe, for love. Johnny's saying, love you, Joe Evans.
That's who Johnny is. Johnny loves everybody.
This COVID thing's over. We got to head south again. I don't want to lose that tradition.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, thank you for calling in. We've got a couple questions coming in here. And take care, Joe. We can't wait to see you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was cool.
Yep.
Okay, so if you know what you would like to tell your 15-year-old self, are these spots you would go bodyboarding that weren't as popular as they are now? Any other things with regards to bodyboarding you would do different? Okay, let's take the first one. That's a great question, Jim. Thank you for these great questions. Pat said the same thing the other night when you did that. So let's answer this first one. What if you know what you know now? What would you tell your 15-year-old self?
Gee, I don't know. That's a good one. I mean, there was definitely a lot of spots that we surfed at. Most of the contests we had were at pretty popular locations for the bodyboard contest. For me, to do differently, I don't know if I would. I mean, I also had a good time going down. I think Greg Gilholm was the photographer. We went down to Baja and made that little Kmart video that people didn't know what a bodyboard was. They'd be on the shelf there, and you push a little video play button, and it would show all of us doing the bodyboarding and sort of like the commercial was. But tried to find that video forever, but haven't been able to find that.
So Patty, I would say, and I'm sure Scotty would agree with this one. When we were younger, the one spot that we all just got crazy about, and probably the only place in my younger days when I used to go out scared me, was the wedge.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
The wedge. We get up there like before the break of dawn, and we get out there and we would just ride that place and just have a blast on it. And then as I got a little bit older, I would go to places like Horseshoes here in San Diego, which is a phenomenal break. And personally for me, I go out right now, or I used to before they closed it down, is Del Mar Jetties on base.
Oh yeah,
and super nice beach break out there. And when it gets big, it just hammers. And there's hardly anybody out there, which is why I like it, because you can go out there and you don't have to worry about competing for peaks. You basically, you and 5 other people are on that whole stretch of beach.
Yeah.
So those are a couple places I would do. As far as regrets, the only regret I really have is that I wasn't, and it's kind of a back and forth. I would have liked to have been in that era of the next generation, to where we were in the high visibility in the magazines.
Oh, the golden years. Yeah.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what Pat and I were talking about the other night. After you guys, who were the OGs, you might say, then we went into the legend, the golden years, which was, Jay, Pat, all them. Yeah.
So at that point, people were the top guys were getting money, and the top guys were getting a lot of publicity. So you get the mags out there, and you go to school and you show your friends, and you're just like the king of the roost out there, right?
Oh yeah.
We didn't have as much of that when we were coming up.
We had our newsletters. That was just enough. We still have
pretty much. That's what we were. We were newsletter people.
Yeah, that was fine for us. I wouldn't change.
Regret, but I wouldn't change the beginnings either.
Yeah, nothing at all.
So I would like to add on, going from the beginnings then into the the next stage. That
yeah,
if I could have.
Well, that's good. And those were great questions. And I really appreciate Jim. He always comes up with some real thoughtful questions. And, it's, some stuff to think about. So, but here we are, let's just answer one more before we go. This is a good one. What are some funny pranks you guys played on each other while traveling with each other? Oh, gosh. Well, I told you about the, I don't know if you were listening, Jim, about the bottles, they called me into the room and said, hey, wake up Roger. And there was they had placed all these beer bottles around his body and his bed, and he's passed out. But pranks, I don't remember any pranks. Do you guys?
We were a big prankster kind of group. I know that.
I think that there might have been a towel pulling at one point in time as you're changing.
We still do that today. So.
I think that might have been a prank. I think what was the other one? Like, some were kind of not G-rated for sure. So
yeah.
maybe I better not go to some of those.
Yeah.
What do we do?
It was just like, I think the thing that more than pranks, Jim, was the fact that we just went and had smiles on our faces from the time we hit the beach till the time we went to bed. It was just, and I think Roger and Scott both have said this today in our historical video, that it was just a magical time. Roger said, this is a time I look back on my life that was just so, I mean, it was
pure,
what you bring up, you bring up these things that this was just, you can't describe the feelings, so,
Patty, I do have a prank that I just remembered. So,
oh, you do? Okay.
I was at the Kuilima condos on the North Shore, and we were getting ready to do we're preparing for Pipeline International Contest, right?
Uh-huh.
And so we had the international guys in one of the hotels, and we had the guys from California's in another condo. And so we were a little bit older, so we were there. We're very serious, exercising, just making sure we're in tip-top physical shape. So we figured, well, we've done all that. So we went over to the international side and the Hawaiian side.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm walking in the door, and somebody's sliding a firecracker under the door, and I believe Mike Stewart was in the bathroom, and they under the door and blew off a firecracker. House. It was crazy.
I know in Cabo right now, there's a lot of pranks going on down there. We have to be careful, especially when we go. Yeah, because we didn't go to the first year. So, but I think the things like using people want sunscreen on their back, and then they just grab the mayonnaise bottle and they put mayonnaise.
Oh.
That's Diego Lannon and his son Micah. Micah has a little.
He's a prankster.
Yeah, he's a prankster.
Young guy.
Oh, really? Uh-huh.
A lot of pranks going on these days. I see Tony's on there too, so I have to share a picture with Tony.
For those of you that don't know what a newsletter is, it was printed on a thing called paper and mailed to the writers. Oh, okay. Yeah, you were talking about how do we get a hold of each other in those days. It was crazy. Absolutely.
Let me share something for Tony real quick since he's on. I wasn't sure if he was on because if I didn't do this to him, he would wonder what's going on. So. Yeah,
Joe says, haha, the newsletter came with the Sunkissed shirt and the promise you would be carrying the batteries to the beach on Saturday.
This is just for Tony if you see it.
Okay, I'll bring it up in a second. I just want to mention that Joe brings this up every time. Joe remembers those batteries. We had.
Oh, they were heavy, man.
That's why it took 10 people on the Took 10
in a wood case that had to go down to run the PA groaned and more people have groaned about that. Huh?
I think there was 2 batteries that ran it.
That's what I said. And that's 2 batteries in there. And boy, I'll tell you.
The low man on the totem pole, we made them drag it down there.
Okay, I'm seeing some Krispy Kremes on the screen.
That's for Tony. If I didn't put him on the screen, he would get mad at me. Yeah. So, anyways, that's for Tony. I thought he would enjoy that.
Yummy, 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 yummy. Wow, that's great. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. I know, we had some fun today, and we've got a time now to chronicle a lot of the fun that we had, and the young people come up can watch this later. I'm going to have it, like I said, on various different places: YouTube, the History Channel, BIM channel, my personal website. I'll share the link with you guys, and that link, that YouTube link, will be able to go over, and you can keep it for in perpetuity. I mean, it's like,
I'll put it in my archives.
Exactly. So thank you, Jim. Jim comes up with some really great questions. I really, really appreciate you. And Tony's saying creams.
That's right. I told you I had to put them up there for him.
Well, thank you for Joe and Tony for coming in. We're going to have you guys on next.
I'm looking forward to seeing those guys. That's going to be good. So you don't have a date yet on those, right?
We're working on that right now. Yeah. So we'll post that. I'll put that out. But again, I want to thank you guys for being my friend all these years, being just some of the most honorable ambassadors of the sport.
Yes, we're family, right?
Yeah. I think it's more family than friends for sure.
Okay, family, being part of the Boogie Board family. And I say Boogie Board because we go back that far.
Yep.
And we just keep boogieing on, and we just keep having fun. And here's to many more reunions and any more surf trips down to Baja, more events.
So what is the chance that we get you to come down to Cabo, Betty?
Not a chance unless I drive. Because
she won't fly.
Okay.
No. No, in fact, when you said prop plane there, I go, I don't ever remember being on a prop plane.
That was definitely a scary thing.
It was all I could do to just get, thank you, Steve. And thank you. We're going to have to talk to Steve at some point too. We got to get some East Coast people in here.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we've got a lot to do with now that I'm working on getting this little video thing going. I think it's going to be fun. And it'll also go into the archives of where were they today, and that's really kind of special. So don't leave yet, but I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody and give them one last thank you to you guys. And sitting here going, where'd everybody go? Well, thank you all for joining me today for another everything about everything. And in this case, it's everything about bodyboarding with our legends and OGs. We call them the Los Originales, the original, the men on the beach that were out there promoting the sport. And I'd like to thank you all for joining me, and we'll see and talk to you on our next episode.